Welcome back to Destination Pro Wrestling. In this video, we have some major news. Andrade's surprise tag team set for Dynamite. We have some very interesting news on who it may be. A lot of signs pointing to a very specific tag team. Also, guys, AEW has signed somebody to the company, and I think this is a beautiful signing. I love news like this. And also, we got to talk a little bit about AEW Rampage versus Smackdown. Depending on when you're watching this video is going up October 15th. AEW Rampage has some tricks up their sleeve against WWE Smackdown head-to-head. So with that being said, your subscription would greatly be appreciated. All right, guys, AEW has officially signed Amanda Huber. If you guys are unfamiliar with who she is, this is the wife of Brody Lee. And AEW has done a lot of great things by the Brody Lee family. Obviously, we saw their tribute shows. We have seen them include -1 time and time again on television. And in addition to that, -1 was added to the Elite General Manager mode. Now, it's actually being said that Amanda Huber has been officially signed by AEW to work in their communities department, which is essentially something that they're doing to get involved with local communities and giving back to the community, which I think is a beautiful thing in itself. Look, say what you want, AEW versus WWE. We're going to talk a little bit about that later in today's video. But when AEW or wrestling company in general does something like this, it's just really special. It's a feel-good moment, and it's really cool to see AEW do something, especially something of this magnitude. Just to think that Brody Lee was only part of the roster for a very, very short tenure, and throughout time, AEW, Tony Khan, Cody, and the rest of the team there, they've done nothing but just give back to this family. And on top of that, Amanda Huber has been, really, really good with some of the small stuff that she's even done on screen. Amanda Huber and -1 are the sole reason why Dark Order are back together, which I just thought that was really cool, the way that they kind of tied it in. Obviously wrestling is, to an extent, wrestling is scripted. Obviously, AEW kind of steps back behind the curtain a little bit in that regard, but, AEW is all about those long-term storytelling, and, it definitely gives you that realistic vibe, right? When you look at the story of the Dark Order and just the way they kind of position that. So ultimately a great move by AEW. I don't care about the financial specifics or the term or anything like that. That's none of my concern. I just want to share that with you guys because typically we're talking about AEW signing, professional wrestlers from WWE or whatnot. But AEW has made this decision. I think it's a great decision, and enough about that. So, AEW Rampage going head-to-head with Smackdown for the first 30 minutes. WWE Smackdown is going extra 30 minutes. WWE made the decision to counter-program AEW, so therefore WWE decided to make their main event match a commercial-free main event match. Now, Tony Khan has decided to do the same. CM Punk versus Matt Sydal will be taking place in the first 30 minutes of AEW Rampage, and they have decided to go completely commercial-free. Keep in mind, AEW Rampage is also doing the buy-in show at, I think, 9 or 9:30. So just to put some perspective there, a lot of counter-programming tonight. It's not something I necessarily want out of this wrestling war. I want both companies to be competitive, but I prefer to watch all kinds of wrestling, and I wish that they didn't interfere with each other. But a lot of this is happening in response to WWE and Vince McMahon's decision. And honestly, I'm just kind of annoyed with it all. If I'm being completely honest here, I think it's unnecessary. I don't know why WWE is doing this. Well, I know why they're doing it, but I don't think they should be doing it. And, rightfully so, AEW has the right to respond this way. Obviously, they're a business, and they need to be this way. I just wish it hasn't gotten to this point because I enjoyed Wednesday Night Wars. I enjoyed NXT, and I enjoyed AEW. And truth be told, it was really annoying where I had to watch one live and then the other one on DVR or swap between commercials. But then some of their bigger matches were commercial free. I just felt like I couldn't really enjoy the product. And, I think Tony Khan he's mentioned this several times. He wants it to be that way. But obviously WWE continues to do stuff like this. So when you watch Rampage, CM Punk versus Matt Sydal. It's not a match that even excites me, to be honest with you. It's not one of those matchups I really give a shit about, but it is one of those matchups where it is going to go completely commercial free. And this is going to be really interesting to see how the statistics align. I want to see who wins the key demographic. I want to see who wins key viewership. I just want to know where people's headspace is when it comes to WWE versus AEW. And this is mainly because WWE is going to be on FS1, which already tells me that's an issue in its own, but only time will tell. It's going to be a very interesting night, my friends. And our final story of the day, these two individuals on the screen, Dragon Lee and Dralistico. These are the two that are expected to be Andrade's mystery tag team on Saturday Night Dynamite. They are expected to compete for the AAA Tag Team Championship against the Lucha Bros. And I'm going to make the bold prediction that they're going to win. There's been a ton of rumors of who this tag team could be, but all signs are pointing to these two individuals, which is great because if anybody knows anything about these two guys, it is going to be an incredible match against the Lucha Bros. The high flying, the impact, the action. This is the type of stuff that AEW can do a little bit better than WWE because AEW continues to have an open door policy with other organizations. And I think that slightly gives them the edge. But keep in mind, Dynamite is going against nobody on Saturday night. So hopefully the ratings look good for AEW on Saturday night. I don't know what it's going to be. The last few times that they've done it outside of Wednesday nights, the ratings weren't that good. But I hope that this is a good start because at the end of the day, a tag team match like this, a surprise match like this is the type of stuff that's going to get people excited. I've seen people throw in some WWE names, and truth be told, if we get anybody else other than these two, I will be incredibly shocked. But I've been thinking, like, who could it be? I mean, obviously, we know Samurai Del Sol is no longer in WWE, but ultimately, who would he team up with? That's a major question. That's a major red flag. That's a major concern. So I hope this match delivers. I hope there's a purpose for it. And yes, I do believe the Lucha Bros are going to lose their championships. This is just part of the nature when you have the Forbidden Door. Those belts got to come back home to AAA, and we'll see what goes from there. If this leads to anything, that's great. If it's just a one-time occurrence, not a big deal. It's definitely going to be special. I feel like AEW has slightly dropped the ball with Andrade, so I'm hoping that this match in particular really gets Andrade back into the full swing of things within AEW, and I fully expect that to be the case. Sometimes it just only takes a little bit of patience, but ultimately that's what makes the product better, when you acknowledge and recognize when you've dropped the ball and improve. We saw AEW do it with Miro. We're going to see them do it with Andrade, hopefully. Anyways, guys, my name is Ango. This is Destination Pro Wrestling. I want to say thank you all for subscribing. We're getting closer and closer to 30,000 subscribers. So if you haven't clicked that button just yet, go ahead and click it. For now, I'll see you guys next time.